was a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Peter Will! Villa in the lead!
Hello, good afternoon, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. Do what you can to take me to the road to 2K, which will help me out massively. Make sure to smash the likes on this video, and you can follow me on all socials. On today's episode, I'm joined by my special guest, Grace Holloway, who is a Crystal Palace fan, journalist, and politics student, and my Monday show regular, Aaron Thornton, who's the football brief, will be on the show. On Saturday in the Premier League, he finished Aston Villa 3, Nottingham Forest 1, which is a great start to a new year for Aston Villa and Unai Emery. And it's important that we get another winning run together, and we will keep building momentum. But Aston Villa on Wednesday travel to Selhurst Park, midweek Premier League action, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. It is a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Aston Villa go into this game joint second with Manchester City, and Aston Villa can we beat another Bogey team. Over the last few games, Oliver Glasner gets the better of Unai Emery. It is Aston Villa's. Right. We are looking to change that on Wednesday. Also, we were in an excellent position to qualify for the Champions League, and Aston Villa are very much still in the conversation. Great to both of you show. Hello, how are you? How are you, Grace?
Oh, I'm great, thank you. It's great. Thank you for having me on.
And Aaron, as always, yeah, great that you joined me again.
Yeah, mate. Thank you. Always a pleasure. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I couldn't be very happy. I'm more happy at the moment. We're in a great position. We're in second, Manchester City. And I think we're very much in the conversation, even despite that Arsenal defeat.
Yeah. I think, the results sort of went for us, didn't they, over the weekend as well? So that helped. We just got to keep winning our games, and I think just try and put ourselves firmly in that top four, which is, the target that we've I think Emery set, that we all want, Champions League football. And like you say, I think we're very much still in that conversation, which is great. So very happy to be a Villa fan at the minute.
So we'll talk about the Nottingham Forest game first. So Aaron, what was your thoughts from that win on Saturday?
I was very impressed, mate. I thought, we've had a lot of games. Well, everyone's had a lot of games. So, I thought we might look a bit leggy, but we really, really took it to Forest, especially that first half. And, we did everything but score. And then, thankfully, Ollie Watkins pops up with an absolute worldie. Another goal outside the box, which is...
Well, he's looking, I think Watkins, to be honest, he's looking back to his old self again.
Yeah.
He looks so much sharper. The confidence is back.
Exactly that, mate. Yeah, spot on. He's he seems to have turned a corner now, and we did say, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, we've been playing well, and we've been playing well without our striker firing, and with him firing as well, like that just, really bodes well for us going forward. So really pleased for him. And just I thought we dominated them. Forest made it. They tried to make it difficult with their game plan and their setup, but I thought it didn't really seem at any point that we were going to lose the game once we went ahead. So yeah, very, very pleased.
Because Aaron, we broke the record of the most passes in a game. Do you see that stat?
I did not see that.
639 passes. That really shows the work that Unai Emery's doing. He's having an impact on the team, a huge impact.
Yeah, I thought Yuri Tielemans is always class, isn't he? But I thought especially against Forest, he just looked so good on the ball, and every pass was just crisp and precise. And very pleased, mate. Especially we've got a few injuries now, so it's good that we just sort of keep the momentum going. And
Matty Cash and Benko Kamara, that makes such a big difference to Aston Villa.
Yeah, we missed those boys against Arsenal, and you realise that even more so when you watch the game against Forest. Kamara was our best player, I thought, and Matty Cash he's just so solid now on that right, and he's Mr. Reliable, isn't he? And another assist for him as well. So I do think it would have been a slightly different game against Arsenal. Not saying we would have won that game by any stretch, but those two really do make a difference. So it's good to have them back.
And Grace, what did you make about the game? Not sure if you've seen it or not, but what do you make of it?
I didn't see it. However, I mean, the passing stat is pretty impressive. I thought that you were unlucky against Arsenal. I watched that game.
Yep.
And I thought the score didn't really reflect how well you guys played. But yeah, I thought it was you're doing very impressive for me at the moment.
Yeah, Villa Park, it's our fortress. And most teams that come to Villa Park now, they don't look forward to playing Aston Villa.
I mean, I went to Villa Park for the away game in the end of August, and I thought your atmosphere was amazing and definitely a fortress. While the result didn't go your way, I feel like we've actually lost that in recent games. Well, our home form is worse than our away form, and our atmosphere is just slowly declining. So I don't think we'll have that advantage heading into this week.
You can win majority of the possession. As expected, like with Forest, they're really hard to break down. But remaining patient, it paid off in the end. Because in the first half, we sort of lapped it on cutting edge in the final third. But then obviously Watkins at the end, it all pays off. That patience.
I think that's been the big difference this season, Chad. Last season, these games, with these teams that would sort of sit back and invite us on, we struggled against those teams, and there was a handful of games I can think of where we just didn't break them down and would end in a draw or we couldn't score. The difference this season is we are finding ways to win and to break these teams down and get the goal. So even when Watkins, before he scored, and I was thinking half time, I was confident that we would find a way at some point.
We improved in that second half. We really showed our true quality. And John McGinn as well. He demonstrated his true quality. But we need somebody to step up in the game. John McGinn's the one who always does that. And even though he's very competitive, physically as well.
Yeah, I thought because he was benched against Arsenal, wasn't he? He didn't start the game.
Yeah.
Then even the start of this game against Forest, I actually thought he looked a bit tired, and I thought, he's feeling the games a bit now. His legs are getting a bit heavy. But like you just said then, in typical John McGinn fashion, that's why he's our captain, and that's why when we went for that bad run at the start of the season, he was the one who pulled us through because he's just got that.
He gave the energy we needed.
Yeah, and that tempo and just when we need a goal, like more often than not he'll pop up and provide. So yeah, as they say, a true captain's performance from John McGinn, and just he's having another great season. A stat for you, Chad and Grace. That was John McGinn's first ever Premier League brace, which I didn't realise.
Oh, was it? I never knew that.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's interesting stat.
yeah.
And Yuri Tournaments as well. He was excellent Yuri Tournaments.
Yeah,
He completely took control of the game. It's just what we need in Yuri Tournaments. He might actually, I think it was one of the goals, I think. He's a great forward, but I think it was a John McGinn one. You know when he linked it over the goalkeeper?
yeah.
That all started for Yuri Tournaments, that did. He's forward passing.
His passing's he's so good. He's so good. And I think since his injury, like he's slowly but surely come back to the player of the season that he was last season. Obviously that's what we voted for as fans because he was so good. And yeah, he just sees passes before they're even a thing. Like, do you remember when Paul Scholes used to play and like he would sort of know where he wanted to put the ball before it came into his feet? He sort of got that similar attribute. He knows where the ball. He knows where he wants to put the ball. So
I always feel calm in Yuri Tournaments. It's also like he's playing with his slippers on.
Yeah.
You just feel very relaxed. When when Yuri Tournaments have got it, you're going to be okay. He keeps you calm.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, mate. Yeah, he does.
And Kamara as well. He covered every blade in the grass, he did, Kamara. And I think it offers so much protection to that back four as well. I think it's very important to the way we play, Kamara. The double pivot.
He's vital, mate. And he's so underrated. And, like, he's not just a defensive-minded player as well. Like, he's got a bit about him. He's got footwork. He's got the skill. He can make a pass. He can shoot. But I do think he goes under the radar, which I'm not sad about because it just means that teams why not come and try and pick him away from us? But he's incredible midfield really. McGinn, Tielemans, Kamara. When you think about how much you paid for them, it's pretty impressive.
I know he's touched on a bit about Watkins, but also Morgan Rogers. He really links up well with Watkins. But when Rogers plays well, Watkins plays well.
Yeah, he and he was kept fairly quiet, wasn't he? I saw the Forest players that were sort of going into him a bit, giving him a few kicks here and there, and he was getting a bit frustrated, but he seemed to keep his head. And like you just said, then he links with Watkins, got the assist for the first goal, and yeah, again another player and more evidence of Emery's amazing coaching and just belief in the players, because they're all playing to a standard that we didn't know they could reach, and that's Rodgers included. When we first got him, we didn't really know what he was about. And
When you think about Rodgers, amazing, really. He was a championship player. I think Emery told me at first that you don't want to be a championship player. We can get you playing to the next level.
yeah,
And Rodgers has reached that next level.
yeah, no, he has, mate. He's incredible.
Yeah. Anything else we need to improve on, I think? We seem to concede the odd goal. I'd like us to see us keep a clean sheet. I do see it needs tighten up a bit at the back, I think.
Yeah, agreed. And credit to Lindelof. I think Lindelof's come in and he's done an amazing job. I think he's been very, very good. But yeah, those mistakes, usually away from home.
No difference.
So against Palace, we'll see. But our record with silly away goals isn't great. So we'll see what happens.
There might be a difference between getting into the Champions League. Because like with Man City, it wasn't for our goal difference. We would have been above Man City.
I know, man. Don't remind me, Chad. There were dark times, man.
So Grace, we'll talk about the game then. So, what do you expect from Crystal Palace on Wednesday?
I mean, I'd like to be optimistic, but I just think that our form recently has just been horrendous. I mean, I touched on it earlier. Our home form is awful. We've lost like what we used to benefit from with the atmosphere. So we haven't won at home since the beginning of November. It'll be our 33rd game of the season, and we are just tired. We've got so many injuries. Obviously, we're missing Sarr from AFCON.
Yeah.
I think he scored maybe.
Well, thank God he's not
Yes.
playing.
Yeah, 5 in the last 3 matches against Villa, I think. So
Well, he scores against us, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
without him, I feel like our creativity is lacking. We've got Jeremy Pino, but he's just struggling to convert chances, really, and he just doesn't seem like he's a fit for the Premier League. He's not very physical.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure. I feel like we don't keep a clean sheet very often recently. So I definitely think there'll be some goals conceded. But because our defence also feels a little bit disjointed, obviously losing Munoz to injury, we're having to play Klein as right wing back, who's now injured again, I think. Or at least went off with an injury against Newcastle. So our defence is struggling, especially with set pieces. So 50% of our goals conceded have come from set pieces.
Oh, right, okay.
So that is definitely an area where you guys will be looking to capitalise. It just feels like we can't really take advantage of any chances at the moment.
Grace, I watched you in the I think it was a Tottenham guy and watched you. You don't seem to take your chances. You get into good areas, but real wasteful.
Exactly that. I think we've got potentially the worst conversion rate in the league of chances. And I think Mateta's only scored 1 in our last 8. So he's struggling with the chances. I think that's where Brennan Johnson will be good. However, he's only had 40 minutes training before our Newcastle match. And we only would have had 2 days training before the Villa match. So I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to take the chances.
Yeah. But we've got a great XG. We have. Our numbers at the moment's incredible, our stats. When you compare to obviously what you just said, we've got a very good XG.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I can see you guys getting 3 points, to be honest. And I think that obviously both of our forms, you guys playing so well, us playing so bad, we've got no wins in, I think, 7 or 8 matches. They've both got to come to an end at some point. But I don't see this as being that match.
Yeah. The short Emery wants to put it right. He needs to go to a tactical masterclass. I don't know what I think glass now. See, he's got Emery's number. What is the reason? What is the reason, you think? Will we always lose to Crystal Palace?
To be honest, I don't really know, but I feel like when I'm watching Palace Villa, I feel like we always take very good advantage of the counter-attacks, and we always manage to pass it quickly to Sarr for him to, get up the pitch quickly, and we always manage to find space, which is what we're really struggling to get right now. We're struggling in games where we're keeping a high amount of possession and it's quite tight. So I think if we can find a way to play how we usually play against you guys, on a counter and getting some space, I think we'll do well. But besides from that, I don't think so.
Yeah, because you are on kryptonite. No, dude, but I am feeling more confident. Obviously, Sarr's not playing. As I went to Arsenal, I think without Eze, it's a big loss for Crystal Palace.
It is.
It was always going to be difficult to replace.
Yeah, I mean, we got Jeremy Pino as a potential replacement, but he's struggled. We've tried other people in the 10 role, such as Devaney, even Kamada, but no one's getting those chances or at least scoring the chances like Eze would have done, which is obviously why we've moved for Brennan Johnson, and I'm hoping that he doesn't take long to settle in. But
if you keep Mateta quiet, Yeah, I think with him with a chance, can Mateta. I think he's a dangerous threat, I think. He's quite a strong, powerful striker, he is. But he needs the service. If he don't get the service, then we're with a chance.
Yeah, I think that's what's going wrong for us right now. Like Mateta not scoring. He scored 1 in the last 8 matches. He's struggling to get the perfect chances, really. He definitely looks like he is weak. He's also, I think, nursing a knee injury, which they've decided not to operate on. So instead he's playing, and that is definitely taken a knock on his performances.
Yeah. I think actually this goal tempted that. Maybe we could utilise Sancho. Because I think the last few away games, I think Jadon Sancho's impressed me. Look, he's work right. I think he needs to show what he can do. In this game, I think, as well, Sancho. But would you agree that, Aaron?
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Sancho's impressed me as well. I think he's slowly looking better with the more minutes he gets. Not going to lie, absolutely buzzing after hearing all that from Grace, because that just sounds like Palace are in an absolute state.
Well, I feel very confident. Yeah, I feel very confident, yeah.
But you make a good point as well, Grace. I think you're saying about the counter-attack. I think, our high line, which, although it can be a bit of a problem sometimes, usually against Palace, so we're quite good with it. But I do think Palace have been very good at exploiting that. So I think that's, without Sarr and players like that, I think, we should hopefully not have as many problems. There's a good point in the comments from, I think, Michael, to you, Grace. Eze starting on the bench for Arsenal, like, how do you feel as a Palace fan seeing that?
I mean, personally, I just think we all knew that it was going to happen, and it seems as if Arsenal aren't really playing Eze to his strengths. And I think Crystal Palace fans, or especially myself, it is quite annoying to see it because he's in like great form of his life. He should be starting matches. He won the FA Cup with us, and we were on such a good form when we had him, Sarr, and Mateta. So to see him sitting on the bench it's just sad, really.
Yeah, he's a waste, really. A player of his talents. Yeah. Talented, gifted. Talented. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, he used to drive at defenders. Look at his awareness of the game as well. He's very similar to like a Jack Grealish type player.
I was about to say, Chad. No, sorry. No, good point, Chad. I was going to say, like, it's like these big clubs taking Grealish and then Eze, and it's fair play to them for making the move because they want to, be the best they can be in their career. But like, it's sad when you see players like that on the bench and not playing like to the maximum that we know they can. And I do feel look, they're footballers. Then it's not like they're going to be hard done by. But I think Palace was such a bit of a good love story for him and the fans, and like, we did a lot for them and they did a lot for him. And it is sad when you see players like that who just suddenly just sort of drop off. And
well, he just goes to waste. It goes to waste then.
Yeah. I don't like it, but that's the world that we're in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they brought in slightly more into the narrative of Eze returning home to, his boyhood club, using the message, let it all work out and things like that. And they didn't really seem to actually think of how he would play. I feel like he would definitely have done better at Tottenham, in my view.
Fair.
And I think that Arsenal just didn't want that to happen. And they thought, let's bring him in. We know he wants to. But they didn't really think the practicalities of it. And now he sat on the bench. And I could definitely see him wanting to, get into that starting team or consider like a loan move or something, because it's just not going to work for him, especially with the World Cup coming up in the summer.
Yeah. That's a good point. Also, you'll say as well, but playing up for the back, in the word in Crystal Palace, they're going to catch us out. You did see that. I mean, it meant so. Do you know what I mean? The Bournemouth game. Even though Arsenal won, Gabriel got caught up by doing it. So we get under pressure, I think, playing up the back. That's something we need to be aware of against Crystal Palace. Because they will capitalise on mistakes, I think. That'd be aware.
Yeah, Mateta's again. He's another one though. I do find scores against us quite often, and although he's been on a bit of a bad run,
He's another player that scores against us.
As well as much as I've said, I'm buzzing, and everything that Grace has said sort of leans to the fact that we should potentially go there and get something. I just can't ever discount this Palace team, and with Glasner as well. Like, although there might be a bit of a mess with him, he sets them up fairly well. Just on that, actually, I watched if you don't mind, Chad, sorry, to Grace. What's the feeling with the whole Glasner situation? Because obviously, it's sort of been documented now that he's not going to sign a contract. So, like, was that expected from fans, or is that a bit of a blow? Or like you said, like the home form's not been as good, so fans aren't the atmosphere is not as good. Like, is there a bit of an undercurrent of a thing happening there, or?
Well, I feel like we all knew that he's going to leave. Like, it has been inevitable since the summer, when he was speaking out against the board, not backing him with significant transfers, and obviously Eze leaving. However, there just seems to be a bit of debate. Like, it seems to change every day whether he's going to leave or stay. I feel like the fan base is quite united in wanting him to stay because, most would argue that he's one of our best managers ever, if not the best. And we know that he has the potential for us to push for top places in the league if we have the right conditions. That squad we ended last season with Sarr, Eze and Mateta up front and the usual defence, we could have pushed on and done really well. And we started the season off so strong. However, the injury crisis, the playing of the Conference League and all these difficulties have meant that we're just overstretched. And so Glasner has said that he's not considering contract extensions at the moment because he doesn't have the time. But he's been more supportive of the club in recent weeks, especially with obviously bringing in a record signing on the first day of the January transfer window, which is just pretty shocking for us as
they even don't get in the Europa League. Not as well. That was a big blow. I think you're good
good point.
Not getting in the Europa League as well.
Yeah, I mean that was tough. But I know that Glasner wants to win the Conference League. But now that we've got to play 2 more matches just to qualify for the knockouts, is making things a little bit more difficult because we're just stretched. But yeah, so overall in the Glasner thing, I would love for him to stay. And I think that the club is trying to make the right steps for him to stay. We didn't get rid of Guay in the summer when we would have liked to have cashed in. We kept him so that he can leave on a free, but just to please Glasner and bringing in Brennan Johnson. And I think if we make some more moves in the transfer window, it might convince him to stay. But ultimately, I'm not sure. No one's calling for him to go. We'd all love him to stay.
The FA Cup and the Community Shield, but he brought 2 trophies to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, he did what we all thought was impossible, and we thank him so much for that. And just the way that he manages and like his philosophy and how he deals with the players is it's really incredible to see.
He's a good manager. We're like, and from a Villa point of view, I think on the whole, like, I've been to Palace once, went to Palace away a few seasons ago, and like just really good fans and good people, and to see you guys lift the trophy. I know Chad will agree. Like, we were so envious because that's what we're yearning for are these trophies. But
it was great for football as well.
It really was. Yeah, no, it was. 100%. Palace lifting those trophies was good, and I think. The only thing with Glasner is I agree with everything you're saying. I think he's a great manager. I just don't know now with the Man United job whether if he does get approached and if they're aware of the contract situation.
Big opportunity, might take it.
If they get an interim for the rest of the season and then come summertime they iron up Glasner. I don't think Glasner will go now because he's in the middle of something, but I do think that could be a factor as well.
I think he is one of the main contenders. I think he said that he would consider the United job. I mean, I don't know practically how it would work, assuming as he plays the same formation that they were trying to play at Man United, and obviously it wasn't working with the players. I also think that, from my point of view, Glasner doesn't get on very well with our board in terms of having a clash of personalities. I can't see how he would cope at United.
Fair point.
But I don't know.
It's different in him because he's been funny back. So with Emery, he's got the structure behind him. Then with Emery, they give him the keys to the castle.
Yeah.
So he's got more control where Glasgow. He's a bit more restricted maybe at Palace.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're not a big spending club. We're just not used to that. We don't have the money for it. And, you know, that's always kept us back. And many fans, up until, you know, winning the Cup and the Community Shield, we would have said that, like, we were just being held back from our ambitions. And yeah, so it's just not within our nature to basically give him everything he wants. But I think we are moving more towards that, just to get him to sign an extension to see if we can really push on with the squad.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get the predicted lineups up. So start with the Villa teams first. Then we're going to get Grace's team up afterwards. So this one predicted lineup to face Palace on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
This is good, so we'll have a little quick discussion about it. So, Aaron, what do you make of my team? This is what I've gone with. I think of this guy, I started Sancho as well.
Yeah, I think that's, mate, just looking at strong. The goalkeeper and the back four sell themselves. I totally agree. I was thinking about Luca Dean at one point, but then I thought about Brennan Johnson, who I do think is a great signing. I think he's a very good signing.
So that's why we played Crystal Palace. Luca Dean really struggled.
Yeah.
That's like Matt's going to be better equipped in this game.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. And if Johnson plays on that side, so I'm not sure which side he'll play on, but if he does, then Maatsen will, you know, for pace, will deal with him better. Kamara Tielemans in the pivot, totally agree. Especially without Onana and then Rodgers, McGinn. Yeah, Sancho's a really. Do you know? I think I've suddenly forgot my lineup, but I don't think I included Sancho. And seeing yours now, I would have definitely included Sancho. But and then obviously the main man in form, Wally Watkins. So yeah, mate, that's a very, very strong and good lineup. So yeah, I have no.
I think Sancho as well. He's sort of improved it, and you'll get some crossing into the byline. And if he can play a few forward passes into the likes of Sancho and Watkins, give them the service.
Yeah, Sancho's. I think he's slowly building up his his confidence and his understanding of Emery's system. You know, we say it often, don't we, that these new players that come in, it can take a while to adapt to Emery's demands, and he's very particular with how he wants players to be in their position. So I think Sancho's definitely getting there on performances over the last few weeks. So totally agree.
Yeah, so on to your team, Aaron. I'm just going to put on the screen. So Aaron, what are you thinking behind this team? What's your thoughts about this?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I sort of forgot about Sancho. So, but that's why Marlon's in there. But I just love that Burnley game where we had Watkins and Marlon together, and Marlon had a game of his life. And I do think, judging by what Grace was saying, and with the injuries and the defense and stuff, Marlon is a very different threat to Ollie, and I just think having them both.
Firepower.
Exactly, yeah. I just think having them both to try and bully that defense would be good. So that was my thinking behind having Marlon in there. So obviously those between him and Rodgers, they're interchangeable, so they can sort of Rodgers could go to the left, Marlon could come behind Ollie or whatever. But and other than that, it's just the same as you, mate. I think the good thing is at the minute with Villa, we've sort of, without injuries, we sort of know our core sort of team, if that makes sense, which is it's good to have that sort of consistency. So I'm totally in agreement with you.
Good luck to Watkins and Marlon. They can run in behind.
Yeah.
Making those runs, in between the centre backs.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the thinking. But Emery, I think I've ever got this right. So we'll see what Emery decides to do. I'm sure he's got some tricks up his sleeve.
But yeah, when I think he gets the masterclass.
Yeah.
So, Grace, we're going to your team. And into Crystal Palace team. So what can we expect for the Crystal Palace team lineup?
So we've got Canvo in defence. That's because Lerma, I'm pretty sure, got concussion after Newcastle. So I'm not entirely sure if he'll be playing. But so JD Canvo is quite young and quite inexperienced. And I think that right side will be where you guys try and look to exploit. Obviously, you've got Devaney as right wing back playing out of position. However, that's kind of where we're using him at the moment. He's, quite a versatile player, and he did play well in right wing back against Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Brandon Johnson will start, but it should be a better chance to see him after having a couple of days to train. So the defence is a bit disjointed at the moment.
Yep.
I'm not entirely sure if Hughes will start. I think he might have been nursing an injury. But that should be the most likely lineup.
Well, looking at that defence, you can definitely exploit that, I think, Grace.
Yeah, definitely. I think our defence has been struggling.
Also, the other fullbacks. Do they like sort of wing backs instead, sort of thing, like pushing on?
Yeah, so Devaney and Mitchell are the wing backs, and we played really well with the wing backs with Munoz as a right wing back, but obviously injured, and no one has managed to replicate the kind of chances that Munoz would score. I definitely think Devaney is potentially better than Klein has been doing, especially since he's young and more of a midfielder and can create some more chances. But defensively, I definitely feel like that right side is going to be our weakness.
A big fan of the Quar as well.
Yeah.
He's a strong centre back, he is.
He is, definitely. We're very lucky to have him, honestly.
I'm a massive fan of Adam Wharton. He's amazing, really, when he got the England squad. Like, he's come a long way, Adam Wharton. And he's got a good passing range, I think, as well.
He has, honestly, he's central to the team, and I think perhaps where we're lacking at the moment is when we play Wharton and Kamada in midfield, the passing is just perfect, and they just manage to keep the team together. I feel like that's where we're slightly lacking as well, playing Hughes instead of Kamada, because Kamada is very good technically, and he plays a similar role that Wharton plays in terms of always finding the right passes. Some of the long balls that Wharton does are just so perfect, managing to find like Pino on the wing. However, we just, as I said earlier, we struggle to actually score the chances.
Then Hughes as well, Hughes. You always think he seems to get stuck in, he does. He shows a bit more aggression to his game. But sometimes, he does get quite a few bookings. Like some of his challenges.
Yes, he does. He's one of those players that you can like almost guarantee a return on a bet that you'll get a yellow card. But that's something that I quite like about Hughes. He's kind of like old school passion, which is important for like high intensity matches.
I look at that team though. I think there's still there's a nice blend there of like youth but experience, and the likes of Gray, Hughes, Henderson, Mitchell. They've been around for a while now. These boys, so like they know the club. They know how Glasgow wants to play, and you mix that in with Johnson and the Craw, who's fairly new, and Jeremy. That's still to me we don't know if that's going to be the squad, but the fact you've got those players available and stuff, I think that's still a pretty tough team. And we were linked with Hughes, weren't we, Chad? Years ago.
We were 2 seasons ago. Yeah, I think we were. Yeah.
I've always liked him as a, like you say, he just seems to always wear his heart on his sleeve and just seems to be a very honest player. Not many players these days show that. Yeah, I
You
agree.
need
Yeah,
more of those players in the Premier League, I think.
yeah. And you said Jeremy, Grace. You've not been too sold on him yet. Is that like a universal like thought between the Palace fans? I thought he looked okay, and I've not watched him a lot. I'll be honest, but like when I have seen him, I thought, oh yeah, he looks okay.
Yeah, I think I'm more favourable to him than a lot of the fan base. I think he's been getting quite a lot of stick recently. I mean, I remember watching his first appearance. He came on against Villa, actually, at Villa Park for about 20 minutes, and I was pretty amazed with him. But he's just really struggled in the physical matches. Like, he slips over a lot. He gives the ball away. Obviously, he's quite small.
He's struggling to adapt, I think.
Right.
Yeah. He's more of like a technical, he's used to the Spanish league, playing technical football, having a little bit more space to be a little bit more skillful. He's just not fully integrated into the Premier League. And I mean, he's scored some pretty good goals. He scored a great goal in our European match against Shelbourne. But in the Prem, it's just gone a bit downhill, and people are just expecting him to be an Eze replacement within a short couple of months, and it's just
big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
definitely. But we're just thinking that if the goals aren't coming from Mateta, they've got to be coming from somewhere else. I mean, someone I'd like to see start would be Christantos Uche, who's a striker we've got on loan.
Oh, is that the No. Where's he from?
Yeah, he is Nigerian.
Yeah, he scored in Europe the other week. That he scored that worldie.
Yeah, against
yeah.
So he scored in every game he started. However, he's just not getting the starts.
Right.
And I think that if we were to start him, I definitely think we'd be stronger. Obviously, he's got quite a big build. He's very more like aggressive and more getting into the tackles rather than Mateta. And I definitely think he's probably stronger than Mateta is at the moment. But Glasner seems to prefer starting Mateta every match. So, yeah.
So, Grace, so we're going to the next talking point. So, what are your thoughts on the new signing, Brendan Johnson?
I mean, I think it's a great signing. It like I talked earlier, it fills one of those roles that we've been missing since Eze's gone. And obviously with Sarr at AFCON, we're missing that creativity on the wings. And I definitely think he will be good. Against Newcastle, I watched the match and he was like our biggest attacking threat. While we didn't score, he seemed the most promising. And I mean, it's certainly like a big move for us with the breaking of the transfer record, doing it so early on in the window. And I definitely feel like it gives him a better chance than he's had at Spurs in the last couple of months, especially since we've got, more European games, FA Cup coming up. And it could definitely give him a chance to
He's very skillful, I think. Very skillful player.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's got a lot of similarities to Sarr. And it could help us with rotation. And I mean, when Sarr's back from AFCON, because at the moment our substitutes for the attack are just like teenagers or Romain Esse, who's really struggled with his move to us.
And also, he's good in that near post area. He's dangerous near post. As well, but you give him a good service. He's a good finisher.
Definitely, and he could help with those chances that we're not scoring, because we're creating the perfect chances, and we just need someone that's there at the back post or ready to put it in the net.
Yeah, and he's a player actually that will really suit Palace's style of play, I think.
Certainly, yeah. Also think it's great that he's so young. He wants to prove himself a bit more. Obviously, he had a big move to Spurs, but that didn't work out. So I just think it would be a great chance for him to, rise up and maybe take on the position that Eze had and being, our most threatening best player.
It's quite great to have different attacking options. You need to change it around. And like you said, Grace, you need to be able to rotate as well.
Definitely. Our last couple matches, I think against Newcastle, our rotation, we brought on Caden Rodney for his Premier League debut and Joel Drakes Thomas, who's only 16.
Wow.
It's just not the kind of attacking threat that we want when we're 2-0 down to Newcastle. And so something's got to change within the squad, especially with more European games. We want to be able to, spread ourselves across those matches and create and score chances in all of them.
Give you call around the block a little bit, Brennan Johnson. Obviously, he was like, Tottenham Forest. So hopefully, we can settle at a club and get regular minutes.
Definitely. Definitely think we can give him regular minutes at the moment, especially with Sarah Afghan. I think when he comes back, I think there'll be a good amount of competition for them both, especially if we can, rotate with Jeremy Pino as well. And it might help develop them a little bit more if they've got some more competition. I think that's where we're struggling in the squad at the moment, is the starting players don't have a lot of behind the scenes competition, so they know that they're guaranteed to make it into the squad, and it's just not meaning that they're not improving.
So Aaron, I'm going to ask you, what do you think of our new signing, Brazilian striker Alisson? What do you make of that signing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about him. Obviously, when these new signings get announced or when there's rumours, these clips get put together on YouTube that people put. So I've seen some of his highlight reel. Honestly, mate, I'm encouraged by it. One thing, I guess we've been a bit hit and miss over the last sort of 2-3 windows with young players coming in, and some have gone on to be good. Some we've just sort of sold and used as a bit of a PSR tool. I do feel this one does seem a bit different. It seems like we don't have an out-and-out right winger, and he does look like he's got a bit about him. Is exactly the sort of profile that Emery likes and wants to sort of mould and coach. So I don't know a lot about him, but I'm looking forward to seeing him and how he's going to adapt. He's coming from a very different.
I think that to add more to the squad depth. And also, who knows, in a few years' time, you can get a good profit. Selling for a good profit.
And that's what it's all about these days, isn't it? And I mean, football's always worked like that in a way, but I think now, in this day and age, it's a lot more of a thing. Grace sort of touched on it. Palace aren't really a buying club. They have to sort of sell before they buy, and going out to buy players like Johnson is good for them. And it sort of, I'm glad, because it just means like teams like Palace can sort of stay in the conversation, because you don't want the tops, the traditional six, whatever, to run away with everything. And but no, hopefully, he turns out good for us and turns in good performances, and then maybe in the future he'll go for some good money, or I don't know, but looking forward to. I don't know if he's going to be in the squad against Palace. I feel like it might be too soon, but we'll see. I don't know how fit he is. But what about you?
Emery's the right person. It's sort of like nurture him and develop him. You look at what Emery did with Morgan Rogers. And other players, he could do it with Alisson.
Exactly that, mate. Yeah, and he's Morgan Rogers is the sort of case study that you look at, with Emery, and where he sort of just plucked him from the Championship and has turned him into this superstar. Obviously, Morgan Rogers had to do a lot himself as well to get there. But you look at the squad that we've got, with Cash, McGinn, Watkins, these players that have elevated and gone to heights that we never thought they could. We thought they'd sort of hit their ceiling, and Konza as well. And that is a lot of that is down to Emery. So, I do think if he puts the work in and he understands and gives himself the time, and he could be a good player. So, yeah.
Only the different option instead of Daniel Marvin. So it gives the position a bit more, variation on the wing. And Emery likes versatility.
He does, yeah. He likes those. He likes his strikers sort of come inward, doesn't he? Whereas Alisson, looking at what I've seen of him, it looks like he's more of a touchline hugger. He likes to be out there. So I don't know how much we'll see of that, but
and he's Brazilian.
Yeah, man.
You can't go wrong with Brazilians.
exactly. You know, they've automatically got that
Oh,
flair,
Ben
haven't they?
Simmons.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see him, and you know, hopefully we get a couple more in through the door in January. But again, how realistic that is
Yeah.
with the PSR and stuff at the minute.
No, like actually, I think we need a backup in defensive midfield, I think. And maybe a right back.
Well, yeah, Garcia's back now, isn't he? But he's, you know, he seems like a really nice
Yeah.
lad, doesn't he? But he was out his depth in that Arsenal game. Granted, harshly, like he got thrown on against Arsenal where we were already getting battered in that second half. It's his first minutes back in how long? So like, I wasn't judging him, but like, you know, he did look a bit out of his depth. And then the game against Forest, he came on, looked a bit better. So he'll gradually take time, and you know, like Grace was touching on, in terms of having competition for players, I think Garcia can be that for Cash if we, you know, give him a bit more chance. But I don't know with him yet. We'll see. And I do think we need another centre back, because if Lindelof or Konza gets injured, then
I agree.
we're struggling, man. Because you know, we've got a few injuries at the minute, so we'll see.
But Grace, what will be the main target for Crystal Palace this season?
I think that's difficult to answer because, you know, a couple months ago we were on really good form. We were, I think, sat 4th or 5th for a couple of matches, but now we've just entered this period of a terrible form, no win in 7 games, and it just feels like we kind of need to survive right now. I think winning the Conference League would be the ideal target. I think it would be incredible to do that in our first season in Europe, but I think our squad depth issues, you know, are causing a real challenge whether we're actually going to be able to make it to the Conference League final. I think we could have a good cup run again. I mean, it was sad to get knocked out of the Carabao Cup. We lost penalties against Arsenal, but I think in hindsight, I think we're grateful not for another 2 fixtures.
Well, you got so many injuries as well. You got so many injuries. You need to avoid those injuries.
Yes, definitely. So I just think this time right now is just kind of like a survival time. We just need to push through. We need to make sure we can try and get as many points as we can and try not to be too ambitious. I mean, the table is just so tight this year.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of concerning. I don't want to say that we're in a relegation scrap or anything, but I just think if things don't turn soon, then it will start to worry us a little bit.
But from like 4th to 14th, I think it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Like 4 points are in it or something crazy. So I mean, you know, you're not completely out of it at all. Like Europe is very much on the cards. It's just, I think, like you just said, squad depth is such a big issue for a lot of clubs at the minute, but especially you guys with the Conference League and stuff and all the cup games and AFCON. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a struggle.
And Crystal Palace, they need to maintain the level of consistency and maybe improve slightly on last season's Premier League finish. That might be a target as well, maybe.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we all know it's, you know, we're capable of doing it. We're capable of, you know, pushing for top 10, pushing for European qualification in the league. But it's just whether we can find that stability in our form to do that, and that's just not looking like.
You've got to be realistic as well.
Yeah, we've got to be realistic, honestly. But I mean, I'd love to see us do well in the Conference League, but I'm just not sure, especially
with all your mind, who knows? I mean, because you go on to win that competition, you might be one of the favourites. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we are the favourites, but I just think that, as we've seen, it was just tough against some of the teams. They were playing such like low blocks and a style of play that we weren't really used to. And you know, we drew our last match, which we needed to win to go through on automatic qualifications, but due to injuries and the fact we were playing Leeds like a day and a half later, we had to put out our academy boys for their first you know, senior debuts, and we managed to get a 2-2 draw. which
I watched
was
that
just,
I
game.
remember that thing similar where I think that Martin O'Neill many years ago, it was CSKA Moscow. And we put out a weak team. Look what happened to us. Looks anything up in, I think.
And this is the thing, though, like with teams like Villa, Palace. Like, you think when we first got in the Conference League, Chads, and that was the season we qualified for Champions League. But if you remember, around this time, between I think it was Jan to sort of May, like there was a massive drop off because our squad depth wasn't good. We had injuries, and like we sort of just got over the line in the for qualifying for the Champions League because we had such a good start to the season. But our Conference League sort of suffered. I mean, Emery's one thing I'll give him credit for as well is he's very good at the whole rotating and the Thursday.
He's good at Thursday, Sunday, that's it.
He is very good, but it took us a while to get going with that. And as Palace, I can I can understand like it's a tough one. I do think Glasner as well was probably making a bit of a point where obviously he didn't really have many players fit. But I watched that game and he was like, yeah, like you said, just throwing on the youth after youth, probably sort of saying like, well, this is all I have to work with. You know what I mean?
He's building experience. Like it's really helped us. The experience and in the Conference League.
Yeah, it has. But like you say, we're lucky because we have a bit. Although with the restrictions, we've got a bit more money. Whereas Palace, like Grace saying, they're sort of struggling. Like that's the annoying thing for Glasner and probably fans as well. I mean, I'm not going to talk on your behalf, Grace, but you can say like you got after the success of last season and then qualifying for Europe, regardless of whether it was Europa or Conference, then not to have that sort of full on backing. I know you kept Guay, but I think. You had a couple more players added after losing Eze as well. He probably would have
Oscar Bob
helped. Do you know what I mean?
You have been linked with Oscar Bob. Crystal Palace have been linked with him.
Oh, what?
yes, we have, yeah.
And it was Gesson as well. We got a Gesson, but they were linked with Gesson as well.
We were this summer, yeah.
And I mean, we don't really know what he is.
Well, he's not really playing with Man City at the moment. So you're looking for game time, is. Could he be an impact?
Pretty good signing.
I mean, potentially.
Yeah.
I think we are linked with quite a few, like, upfront players. Apparently, Nketiah was on his way out before he got his hamstring injury in the last couple of weeks. I think we're linked to Strand Larsen as well.
Good.
He's the ball striker.
I'll be shocked if they let him go.
Yeah, I think United are interested in Mateta. They have been for a while. And I think that the club might be looking to capitalise on Mateta while we can. But I'm not entirely sure if we would, lose him at this moment in the season.
Yeah. Great. So I'm going to come to my last question. It's time for one more question. So, how long do you think Oliver Glasner will stay at Crystal Palace?
I mean, I think he's gone in the summer. I think unless we were to win the Conference League or qualify for a high European competition, I think he's gone in the summer. I don't think he'll leave now unless there's a big disagreement with the club or, this bad run of form continues. I just think it's inevitable in the summer, really.
It's a shame, really, because he's implemented a great style of play, a philosophy that really works. And, we had a very good structure in place. It's kind of a shame, really, that, it'd be a big loss. Massive loss.
It definitely will, and I hope that we can continue some of that after he goes. But with his career, we've seen him leave other clubs when he's not been backed. He only really signs short-term deals, so he likes to be on the move. I just think unless we give him some bigger, higher ambition like Europa League or something like that, then I just can't see him staying.
Yeah, I didn't see actually at Glasgow. I think about the highest win percentage. The Crystal Palace manager, am I right? I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And And he's got you playing at a consistent level.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was refreshing after having, Roy Hodgson return. It was just, it was like the first half season of Oliver Glasner was just like, wow, you can enjoy football. Like, it was amazing.
So come towards the end of the podcast. So we do score predictions. So I'll start with Aaron first. What's your score prediction for Wednesday evening?
Well, before doing this, I was actually going to be a bit of a negative Nelly, and I was going to say it's going to be a score draw because defensively away we're not great. But then after hearing Grace speak about Palace's woes and struggles, I do feel a bit more confident, and that's no disrespect. Like I said, I am very fond of Palace and the team and the fans. I like them a lot, but I think we can get a result. I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. There you go, 2-1.
I'm going to go this side.
Nice.
I'm going to go 2-1, and I think we'll break the curse.
This is the thing. Like that is the thing that's like as any Villa fan, I tell you, like we genuinely fit. Anyone else is fine, but it's Palace. We just fear Palace. So
Look at Man United. We beat Man United. They're a bogey team. We
true.
just need to beat Crystal Palace.
True.
And we beat Wolves as well.
I think if we want to have any really show where we're at and who we are, we need to get over this line, don't we? So yeah, I agree with that, Chad. Good one.
And no sir.
No Sar is a big one, yeah.
Grace, what's your prediction?
I mean, I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to say I reckon a 2-2 draw. I think it will be a tough match and I'd like to see us return to actually scoring some goals. But I definitely don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. I reckon it's going to be pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, thank you, Grace. You've been a great guest. I mean, you got real good knowledge as well.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
So, Grace, is that your first podcast? Have you done shows before?
I've done a couple before, yeah. But not many.
Good. You're really good.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you, Aaron.
As always, mate, it's a pleasure. And yeah, thank you for having me on. And Grace, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, you're very, very knowledgeable. And thank you for the information about Palace. It's been very helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. Make sure to smash the likes. If you're listening to the audio, make sure to leave a good review. That always helps. And give it a share on all your socials. And make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I am going to wrap up this episode with Villa forever, as always, and up the Villa.